Good evening, Dominica. With the stories affecting the nation, the region, and the world, this is EmoNews for July 9th, 2026, and I am Soanna Gordon. In the headlines, ODM advanced tsunami preparedness in northern communities. Chinese seedling donation boosts agricultural recovery in Salibia. Cocoa farmers receive post-harvest training to boost quality and market opportunities. Dominica Council on Aging condemns brutal killing of elderly, calls for justice. Dominica names team for NACAC under 18 and under 23 championships in Mexico. West Indies cricket team secure first Test series win over Sri Lanka in 23 years. And flooding from tropical storm Mesak kills 39 in southern China. We'll be right back with the details of these stories and more. First up in local news. A plea for better infrastructure was one of the themes emerging from a panel discussion held last evening on building sustainable arts and culture industries in Dominica. Here is Mrs. Anita Bully, wife of the late Dr. Alwyn Bully, as she spoke on the importance of proper infrastructure.
Our built heritage is also of great importance. That is what gives the city of Roseau its unique charm. SHAPE, the Society for Historical Architectural Preservation and Enhancements, is still operational, with Marika and the church now at the helm as president. They continue to express their distress as the charm of the city is being destroyed, with traditional buildings being bulldozed and replaced by concrete monstrosities, and the ones owned by government being allowed to go to rot and ruin so that their destruction can be legitimized. These important buildings include the Old Roseau Public Library on Victoria Street, the Barracan Building in Roseau, the only one of its kind in this region, and the building which formerly housed the Planning Division on Charles Avenue, as it is presently being used as a storage facility by the Chinese Commerce Building, the Goodwill Secondary School. It is extremely heartbreaking to watch their slow deterioration, especially as they can be restored with the assistance from Cuban artisans who restored the Winsky Building, now the Red House. A plea has been made to the Honorable Prime Minister for their restoration. We await his response on this matter.
Meanwhile, Dr. Barry Kazumi of the UWI Open Campus, in his opening remarks, said that universities have a role to play in the creative industries.
As the region's premier university, the University of the West Indies recognizes that higher education has a vital role to play in strengthening the creative economy. Universities must do more than preserve knowledge. They must nurture talent, encourage innovation, develop leadership, and create opportunities for sustainable livelihoods. Here at the UB Global Campus in Dominica, we have embraced that responsibility. Through our programs and professional development initiatives, we continue to provide training and equip creatives and cultural practitioners with practical skills to thrive in an increasingly competitive environment.
Recovery efforts in the Salibia constituency following the devastating April 26 drought continue with support aimed at restoring agriculture and strengthening community resilience. Government officials recently welcomed representatives from the Chinese Embassy and the Chinese Agricultural Mission as thousands of vegetable seedlings were handed over to farmers affected by flooding, landslides, and widespread crop loss. The donation forms part of ongoing recovery efforts to help farmers resume production, improve food security, and rebuild livelihoods. Officials say this is the first phase of a wider initiative, with more planting material to be distributed in the coming weeks. This initiative reflects the strong partnership between Dominica and the People's Republic of China, with appreciation extended to the Chinese Embassy, the Chinese Agricultural Mission, the Ministry of Agriculture, the Division of Kalinago Affairs, and other local partners for their support. The Office of Disaster Management, ODM, in collaboration with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, hosted a joint tsunami-ready stakeholder meeting in Portsmouth on Wednesday as part of ongoing efforts to strengthen tsunami preparedness in communities across Dominica. The meeting brought together government officials, technical experts, village councils, teachers, emergency responders, and community stakeholders to discuss the implementation of the Tsunami Ready program for northern and northeastern communities. Her Worship, Kerry Brady Prince, Mayor of Portsmouth, shared brief remarks.
As Mayor of a coastal community, I recognize both the blessing and the responsibility that comes with living by the sea. The sea provides us with food, livelihoods, recreation, and economic opportunities. However, it also reminds us that we must always be prepared for natural hazards, including tsunamis. While we cannot prevent natural disasters, we can certainly reduce their impact through education, planning, coordination, and community involvement. Preparedness is not the responsibility of one agency alone. It requires all of us, government, emergency responders, businesses, schools, churches, and residents to work together. Today's consultation is an important step in that process. It gives us the opportunity to learn from experts, share our local knowledge, strengthen partnerships, and develop practical strategies that will help protect our communities. So I encourage everyone, participate fully, ask questions, exchange ideas, and leave here committed to implementing what we have learned.
Participants received an overview of the Tsunami Ready program, including the recognition process, community responsibilities, and the roles of the ODM, NOAA, and local stakeholders in building a more resilient coastal community.
It is my pleasure to warmly welcome you all to this very important engagement and to give some opening remarks. So we are especially honored to welcome the team from the U.S. International Tsunami Information Center from the Caribbean office, whose official visit marks a significant milestone as we work together to advance the Tsunami Ready recognition program in the northern and northeastern communities of Dominica. The visiting delegation comprises of highly experienced and knowledgeable professionals who have been at the forefront of tsunami preparedness and resilience efforts throughout the Caribbean. Their expertise, guidance, and continued support are invaluable as we strengthen our national and community capacities to prepare for, respond to, and recover from tsunami hazards. This visit represents another important step in Dominica's commitment to building safer and more resilient communities. Over the coming days, we will work collaboratively to review our national standard operating procedures for tsunami warning, communication, and dissemination. Finalize the draft tsunami evacuation maps for the northern and northeastern communities, and review the national strategy for implementation and long-term sustainability of the Tsunami Ready program, including the integration of these additional communities. At the community level, we will present the final tsunami draft maps, evacuation maps, and invite you to provide us feedback, conduct tsunami education and public outreach activities. assess our warning and response capabilities, and provide training aimed at strengthening our local tsunami-ready communities.
Discussions also focused on implementation strategies, including education planning, public education, community engagement, and hazard awareness. Officials stressed the importance of strengthening coordination among agencies while ensuring residents understand tsunami risks and how to respond during an emergency.
This one is the evacuation map for Thibault. You will notice this is the playing field here. So for point of reference, the playing field here. So we would go up this way to evacuate, and this is the assembly point here. We have another assembly point up in Polinaire. This is where it is here. And then the other assembly point is going up towards Viecas. That would be the assembly point, and that's the route. And all of this yellow area here is the evacuation zone for Thibault.
NOAA experts also shared technical guidance on tsunami hazard awareness, risk communication, evacuation mapping, and lessons learned from other communities around the world that have successfully achieved tsunami-ready recognition.
Is when they start to run. I don't know if you've seen any movies of this, but people are running down streets and you see right and left buildings. But they didn't think of going up in buildings. They just kept trying to run away, but they couldn't run fast enough. And the wave wrapped them up and 200 and turned, and people were killed. They were drowned in the wave and hit by objects, so it was terrible. But this wave didn't only hit Indonesia, right? It continued to Thailand, it continued to India, it continued to Africa. And almost 230,000 people lost their lives because there was no warning system. They didn't recognize in Indonesia the natural warning signs. You live at the coast and you feel a strong earthquake, head to high ground immediately. They did not know that information. The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center was only responsible for issuing alerts for the Pacific, not for the Indian Ocean. But they scrambled trying to get this message out to countries. But it was very difficult because the countries even receiving the message had no plan, didn't know what to say. So this wave kept traveling across the Pacific, across the Indian Ocean. And people were dying in Thailand, people died in India. It just kept on going. There's over 20 countries were affected. And not only people from these countries, but tourists. This was the biggest disaster in terms of deaths lost by Scandinavian countries like Norway and Sweden. They lost thousands of lives of Norwegians and Swedes because they were vacationing there and nobody told them what to do. They had no idea what to do.
The meeting concluded with discussions on the next steps, including community visits, mapping exercises, and timelines for achieving tsunami-ready recognition for participating communities. The initiative forms part of an ongoing partnership between the Office of Disaster Management and the NOAA, aimed at enhancing disaster preparedness and building safer, more resilient coastal communities throughout Dominica. Cocoa farmers in Dominica's southeast agricultural region are strengthening their skills through specialized training aimed at improving the quality and value of locally produced cocoa. Last week, farmers participated in a cocoa post-harvest and drying techniques training facilitated by experts from the Cuban Agricultural Mission and the Southeast Agricultural Team. The hands-on sessions equipped participants with practical techniques to improve cocoa quality, reduce post-harvest losses, and increase the value of their harvests. As the industry continues to expand, officials say improving post-harvest practices is essential to producing premium quality cocoa for local agro-processors and the development of value-added cocoa products. The training focused on best practices in fermentation, drying, and post-harvest handling, providing farmers with the knowledge needed to enhance the quality, consistency, and marketability of their cocoa while improving access to higher value markets. The Dominica Council on Aging has expressed deep sadness following the deaths of two elderly individuals, including 83-year-old Kenneth Charles of Canefield. Charles was found dead in a manhole along the Canefield Highway in what authorities have described as a brutal incident. In a separate case, another elderly person was found dead in Cassibruce after being reported missing. The council extended condolences to the families, called for justice in the death of Kenneth Charles, and urged the public to remain vigilant and protect the nation's senior citizens. And EmoNews also extend condolences to the families. The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Blue and Green Economy has launched a 2-day pre- and post-disaster damage assessment training program to strengthen Dominica's disaster preparedness and build a more resilient agricultural sector. Held on July 7th and 8th at the Prevost Cinemall, the training is funded by the Caribbean Development Bank through its CARE program, with support from the European Union. The program equips ministry staff and key stakeholders with the skills to assess disaster damage, collect and analyze data, and support recovery planning, improving the country's ability to respond effectively after natural disasters. The ministry says the initiative reflects its continued commitment to building a more resilient and climate-smart agricultural sector through capacity building and strategic partnerships. And finally, in tonight's local news, Cuban graduates and member of the Dominica Guild of Cuban Students, Dr. Damian Dublin, has issued a call for the removal of what he describes as an unjust and inhumane economic blockade against Cuba.
I mean, after 60 plus years of this blockade, we see instead of it being removed, they are applying harder and tighter sanctions. It looks like it's a strategy of economic strangulation to achieve what objective, really, I just cannot imagine. To cut off the oil energy supply, passing stricter and harder restrictions against any country who doing business with Cuba, the private hotels in Cuba, the credit card companies. I mean, I'm just still trying to understand what has Cuba done which merits that kind of response.
Dr. Dublin says that this entire issue is simply a matter of respect.
We have to learn to respect each other's sovereignty and learn to coexist. We can meet to solve problems, and it should not always be tension here and there to get things resolved or get disagreements resolved.
A Cuban graduate himself, Dr. Dublin says Cuba does not deserve such treatment, considering its long-standing contributions to the Caribbean.
Cuba has done only good for the Caribbean through its human resource development. The number of Cuban graduates in the islands in all spheres of professions. Cuba has gone to Africa dealing with Ebola. During the AIDS pandemic, Cuban doctors were actually going in while others were running away. In many Latin American countries, Haiti and other countries, the Cubans are serving areas that are underserved. So really, I would want to call again for the removal of this unjust embargo. 60 plus years and more pressure has been added. The people of Cuba are suffering, and we have to stand in solidarity with them at this time.
And on to regional news. Martinique and Barbados have signed a landmark cooperation agreement to strengthen regional integration and expand collaboration across key sectors. The agreement was signed on July 7th by Serge Letchimy and Mir Amo Motley during the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting, marking Martinique's first CARICOM summit as an associate member. The partnership covers areas including education, tourism, health, fisheries, disaster management, trade, and the creative industries. A joint cooperation committee will oversee implementation and monitor progress. Officials say the agreement reflects a shared commitment to strengthening economic ties, building climate resilience, and promoting sustainable development across the Caribbean. And finally, in regional news, the Tobago Regional Health Authority recently hosted a high-level delegation from Barbados for a knowledge-sharing visit aimed at strengthening healthcare collaboration. Led by Senator Dr. Jerome Walcott, the delegation toured the Scarborough General and Roxborough hospitals, where they met with Tobago health officials and observed key clinical and specialized services. The visit provided an opportunity for both countries to exchange best practices and reaffirm their commitment to improving healthcare delivery and building more resilient health systems across the region. In international news, tensions in the Middle East have escalated after Iran launched missile and drone attacks on U.S. military facilities in Bahrain, Kuwait, and Qatar, following a second night of American airstrikes on Iranian territory. Iran says the strikes were in retaliation for U.S. attacks that killed at least 14 people and injured 78. Air defense systems were activated across several Gulf states to intercept incoming missiles and drones. Both Washington and Tehran have warned of further military action, raising concerns over regional security and the safety of shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. And finally, in international news, at least 39 people have died after severe flooding caused by tropical storm Maysak swept through China's southern Guangxi region. Officials say 26 of the deaths followed the breach of the Lulian Reservoir Dam, which sent flood waters into nearby communities. More than 130,000 people have been evacuated as rescue teams continue relief efforts. Floodwaters are beginning to recede, but more rain is forecast. Cleanup operations are underway, with crews restoring roads, essential services, and electricity to thousands of homes. And that's all the international news for this evening. We'll be right back with sports.
Coming up on the outside.
Sit down.
Dina coming up on the outside.
Look it.
Oh.
No way.
First up in sports news, the Dominica Athletics Association has named a 3-member team for the NACAC, North American, Central American, and Caribbean Under 18 and Under 23 Championships taking place from July 10th to 12th in Taxacala, Mexico. Keone Esprit will compete in the Under 18 Boys 100 meters, Karel Etienne in the Under 23 Women's 100 meters, and Addison James in the Under 23 Men's Javelin throw. The team will be accompanied by Dominica Athletics Association President Brendan Williams, Coach Joel Hamilton, and Team Manager Philip White. The Dominica Athletics Association wished the team members great success and thanked the Dominica Olympic Committee for its financial support. In exciting cricket news, the West Indies have ended a 23-year wait for a Test Series victory over Sri Lanka, securing a 1-0 win after the second and final test ended in a draw in Antigua. Replying to Sri Lanka's 549, the West Indies made 499, powered by centuries from Justin Greaves and Shai Hope. Greaves scored a career-best 180 and was named both Player of the Match and Player of the Series. Captain Ruston Chase praised Greaves' all-round performance as the key to the historic series win, which also ended the West Indies' 10-series winless streak in Test cricket. The West Indies now prepare for a 2-match Test series against Pakistan beginning July 25th in Trinidad. And of course, as West Indies fan, we hope for more exciting news. Finally, in tonight's sports package, the race for top honors in the Dominica Football Association Division 1 League is heating up as the latest league standings take shape. Exodus FC and Kalinago Warriors continue to lead their respective tiers, but several clubs are closing the gap, making every match increasingly important as the season progresses. With plenty of football still to be played, every point will be crucial in the battle for promotion and league honors. This weekend, SY Naturescape FC takes on LA Stars, and the action concludes on Sunday when Jesse Badwell Ballhawks take on Valley United FC. In Tier 1, Kalibishi FC will host Fokole United on Sunday at the Benjamin Park. Football fans are encouraged to turn out and support their teams as the exciting race for Division 1 supremacy continues. And that's all our sports news. Of course, we will continue to monitor the World Cup. Stay tuned. The weather report is coming up next. This has been EmoNews for July 9th, 2026. I am your presenter, Soana Gordon. Do join us tomorrow as we bring you more details of news shaping Dominica, the region, and the world. Do have a lovely evening, everyone, and goodbye.